In Burbank, California, there is a structure that every individual will never enter. On the outside, it is not much, another industrial block in the San Fernando Valley. However, enter those doors and you are in the heart of something that no museum can imitate, no auction house can fully value, and Hollywood studio can never do justice to. This is Jay Leno's garage, and what is inside it is not only cars, it's decisions, engineering gambles, government controversies, machines that were constructed at the very extreme of what American engineers thought could be done, and occasionally beyond. We are not talking today about great hits. We are not referring to the cars that were on the cover of magazines and the cars that the grandmothers know. We are speaking of 5 American machines so radical, so hazardous, so legally naughty, or so wiser by the legal comminuted by those who created it, that most of the world has never had the opportunity of hearing of their existence. These are the vehicles which were banned, stifled, recalled, or just swept under the carpet, and somehow Jay Leno had identified all of them. In case you are not new to this channel, then like this video and subscribe to our channel and leave your comments about Jay Leno Garage. Let's start with number 5. Number 5, 1992, Vector W8 Twin Turbo. The 1990s was an acuphylactic electric decade of American supercar. At the time when the Europeans were constructing the McLarens and the Ferraris, which would make the age, a man in California named Jerry Wiegert had been secretly, compulsively making something that he thought would humiliate them all. This vehicle was the Vector W8 Twin Turbo. And looking at it with your own eyes, you realize at once that Wiegert had no one to play by. W8 accelerated on 6.0-liter twin turbocharged V8 based on Rodec race technology with 625 to 1,200 horsepower under various boost pressure. That number isn't a typo. The maximum speed of the car was factory rated over 240 miles per hour. In 1992, it was constructed as a fighter jet. Aerospace honeycomb aluminum structure, cockpit interior which appeared to have had a Lockheed F-117 dashboard bolted to a road car, and a center of gravity so low it put action at odds with the fundamental principles of auto physics. The Vector W8 was dark repute, however. Driving it was pathologically hard, brutal. The transmission was a 3-speed automatic modified out of a turbo hydromatic, and it was in no way cooperative with you. Acceleration was rough and erratic. Among those in the period press, the Vector gained a reputation of an automobile that would attempt to murder a motorist that was not fully invested and fully competent. The company failed under financial and legal anarchy, and only 17 were ever completed. Jay Leno owns one. He says when he drives it that it is one of the plainest machines that he has ever operated, in a way that it is honest, in that it is interested neither in your safety or in sparing you yourself. It is what American ambition surrounds itself with when it is totally unrestrained by concession or counsel. That is either exciting or frightening, possibly both. Number 4, 1954, Oldsmobile F-88 Concept. This second car is not merely something special, it is something that General Motors took exceptional measures to ensure that it faded away. One of the most astonishing concept cars ever built within the GM studios was the 1954 Oldsmobile F-88, a 2-seat roadster with rocket ship proportions, a sculpted bodywork that would have appeared a decade later in American roads, and a personality which threatened to eclipse the entire show, which Corvette, then new and still struggling to establish itself in the GM product portfolio, had just started doing. That is where it gets twisty in the story. Executives in General Motors found a problem in F-88. In case this car is produced, it would devour Corvette. Thus the plan was settled. The idea was to make its auto show circuit. The people would go crazy over it, and it would be trampled down. GM destroyed most of the F-88 cars that it had constructed to attend the Motorama shows. That was the policy. Kill the concept, guard the product. Except one survived. One F-88 escaped somehow by means of a trail of ownership that is still somewhat obscure, even today. Jay Leno owns it. When this automobile was verified and its presence confirmed, the automobile industry was holding its breath as one collectively. It is estimated to be the sole F-88 on the Earth. Leno has stated that it is like driving a bit of history that should never have been an actual car. A ghost car. The fiberglass body. The 324 cubic inch rocket 5.8. The very existence of it. GM tried to erase this car. They failed. And since they failed, we are able to know what 1954 might have been like had the boardroom remained out of the design room. Number 3. 1948 Tucker 48. To know why this car is important, you have to know what Preston Tucker was against. During the years that followed the World War II, Tucker came in with an idea that ought to be rejoiced. He was determined to create a truly modern American car, with a center headlight that swiveled with the steering wheel, with a padded dashboard many years ahead of its becoming mandatory, with a windshield that folded away in an accident, and a rear-mounted flat six that made some 166 horsepower. For 1948, this was not a car. This was a provocation. Tucker was on his way toward the Big Three, and according to Tucker and his supporters, it did not augur well with them. It was the legal and political strife which fell upon the factory of Tucker in Chicago that became the theme of accusations of fraud, investigation by Senate, trial that, though it eventually ended in acquittance of Tucker, ruined the company in its entirety. It was only 51 cars that were completed. Tucker passed away in 1956, and he never gave up until the end that he has been intentionally sabotaged by the automotive giants. Anyway, whether you consider the conspiracy theory or you think it was merely a disorganized business failure, the outcome is equivalent. One of the most truly innovative American cars that were ever designed was smothered in its cradle. Jay Leno owns a Tucker 48. He writes of it with a certain reverence. The reverence that one only bestows upon mechanical accomplishment, upon that which symbolizes not only the price of being too different, fast, threatening to the order of things, but also what it signifies. To pilot the Tucker is to ponder in a very actual and somewhat sad manner what the history of American automotive would have become had Preston Tucker not been left to his own devices. Number 2. The EcoJet concept, 2006. The vast majority of cars in this list found their place in the garage of Jay Leno due to decades of searches, bidding, and collecting. This next one is different. He built it. That difference alone will tell you something significant about what Jay Leno is in reality. Not just a collector, but a man who becomes possessed by engineering issues and apparently decides to go out and solve them to himself. The EcoJet was a brainchild of a discussion between Leno and the design chief of General Motors, Ed Welburn. It was a simple idea in the sense that all truly crazy ideas always sound simple when they are presented to you. How about a modern, with a jet turbine, biodiesel-powered supercar? Suppose you took a Honeywell LTS-101 helicopter turbine engine, which has about 650 horsepower, and installed it in a low-slung American road car, whose shape is developed in conjunction with the advanced design studio of GM. Suppose you had the entire machine driving on cooking grease. The EcoJet lacks street legality. It is not designed to be. The turbine engine starts with a noise not heard in the entire automobile industry. It is not a roar or a rumble, but a whine that is getting higher and higher and higher until it almost seems like machinery is at work and is almost physics occurring very near your ears. The acceleration is smooth and totally insatiable in that distinctly turbine manner of accumulating power in a continuous motion instead of the explosive bursts of a piston-powered engine. Leno has termed it as the most futuristic aircraft that he has ever flown. There is no other place in the world where it exists. It cannot be bought. It cannot be replicated. It just resides in that garage in Burbank until there are days where Leno will be ready to tell the world that the American engineering needs to be reminded that there is no ceiling in the world. Number 1. The Blastolene Special, 2001. And then there is this. Randy Grubb is an Oregonian fabricator who invents objects which ought not to exist. He produced a vehicle during the early 2000s on the behalf of Jay Leno, which was, perhaps, the most extreme road-going car to have been built in America. It is referred to as Blastolene Special, and to get its hood open, you have to get into what is under the hood. The same Allison V-12 aircraft engine, which was originally meant to propel World War II fighter aircraft, generating about 1,000 horsepower, with a figure of torque so big it is nearly ludicrous to hear even spoken in a discussion about road vehicles. The Special Blastolene is more than 3 tons. This is about 19 feet in length. It resembles a creation of a science fiction writer who would be requested to envision a land vehicle, which might possibly be surviving a war. In any real sense, it is not street legal. It does not need to be. It lies within a realm of machine that goes past consideration of the legality altogether, and gets into the realm of statement. The only thing Jay Leno has done with his money and his time as an adult is to make sure that the most extraordinary machines in American history are not forgotten. The dangerous ones, the banned ones, the ones that caused executives to become nervous and governments suspicious and rivals scared. And have something been set in motion in you by this video, or have one of these machines paralyzed you, say which one in the remarks that follow. Was it the Tucker who was choked by the establishment? The F-88, nearly destroyed by himself? Or the Blastolene, which is driven by a weapon of war? Let us know. Select up like the video in case you feel these stories are important. And by the way, subscribe to Parallel America just in case you are not a regular.